Hello, everyone. This is Manolo Concepcion. I am the new associate head coach at Eastern Illinois University here in the NCAA Division I in United States of America. I am born and raised in Puerto Rico, where I had the opportunity to play and coach, and now moved to U.S., been coaching for the past 19 years. And when this crisis began, I wanted to create an educational tool for everyone around the world and the volleyball community that we can learn from backgrounds and experiences of guests that we will bring into the program. Today, I am honored to be joined by Mr. Stefano Lavarini, who is the Korean national team head coach. How are you, Stefano?
Hey, everything good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Stefano. Stefano, can you send a quick message in Spanish for the Spanish speakers that are watching right now?
Entonces, meu espanhol, não sei se dá para, se posso dizer, meu espanhol é muito fraco, porque depois de de trabalhar em Brasil, ou no Brasil.
Yeah, your Portuguese is good.
I mean, Portuguese took the lead, so I can't speak Spanish very well. I learned a lot at the beginning because I love Spanish, but now it's really, really hard for me. It starts to come out just Portuguese words, so it's really hard. But I love Spanish. I really, really love Spanish.
Is your assistant coach Cesar Hernandez teaching you some Spanish, or he's just speaking English?
No, Cesar is teaching me Italian sometimes because he has a lot of funny words, and we are trying to learn a new Italian style to use in Korea. Yeah, so Cesar is he's amazing in every language, in everything, in every skill, in everything you need from an assistant. So he's teaching us much more Italian than other languages.
Stefano, how long have you been coaching?
Oh, I guess it's like 24 years ago that I started. Really, really young. And so I want you to tell something about this.
Did you start it in the Italian younger level leagues, or you started right away at the professional level?
No, I started in the youth teams, in the youth leagues, because I've never done a single practice in my life of volleyball. Never. I tried a lot of sports and I was weak in everything. And so I started to follow my schoolmates. There was a big boom of the women's volleyball in my city, and so every guy that was not so good in soccer was following the girls playing volleyball. And so I was there every practice, every day, and the coach asked me, "Oh, come here, help me take a ball, toss a ball, catch the ball, just because you are here every day." So I started like this, and I started helping him. And then he inspired me very much. And so I loved that job. And I started mostly because I like the job of the volleyball coach, then the volleyball, And so it started like this.
What are some of the things that you fell in love with the game with? Like, what are things that attracted you the most in the beginning, and how has that changed now?
I mean, at the beginning, I guess that the technical skills that were such different skills from other sports. So it was like interesting for me to see, even in an aesthetical way, people executing that skills at their best. So that was the first thing that attracted me. Then, I mean, when I started to understand the game,
when was that, Stefano? When do you feel that you had a good grip of the game?
Wow, really late, really late. So it's funny, but I won 2 youth Italian leagues, and I still didn't know anything about this game. I guess I was like a superstar, But I guess that I started to understand between being assistant in Chieri in the first division and working in the Club Italia, because both these experiences gave me a lot of consciousness about volleyball and about myself like a coach and so on. So I started to work much more on me and to understand much more volleyball after these 2 experiences.
Who are the coaches that you feel that had taught you the most?
Wow. If I am here today, it's just because I had great teachers, because I started from nothing. I didn't know anything. So starting from the beginning, the first coach that inspired me, he just catch me to learn while he was teaching to the girls. So starting from Paolo Cerutti, that was the first coach that inspired me. But
what did he have? What did he have that made him such a good coach and a good teacher?
What? Sorry?
What did he have that made him a good coach and a good teacher?
He was a great, I don't know how to say in English, but he was a great athlete in kayaking, I guess. And they practiced a lot. And so he tried to bring that philosophy to the youth volleyball in the 80s, 80s, 90s. And so it was something like, so I guess that his attitude in working was the most important quality of that guy. And then I was so lucky because I worked just with great coaches like Luciano Pedulla, Luca Pieragnoli, Marco Mencarelli, Giovanni Guidetti, Massimo Barbolini, Davide Mazzanti. So I was assistant for all these great coaches, and so I learned from every of them.
How does being the role of an assistant coach to now being a head coach changes in you? Does your personality changes within those roles?
No, I guess that it doesn't change. It didn't change so much, but that are 2 really different. Two really different jobs, So, but it depends on how you are. Like, so how is your? I don't know your attitude. What are your values? Because in my opinion, so there are people that are more head coach and some people that are more assistant coach. In my opinion, I am more head coach because I want to do that coach. I want to have the final decision,
Yeah.
But there is one thing that is really strong in my mind, that is the skill, the ability of staying in your own position. That is something really important in life.
How do you do that? How do you do that? Because sometimes we want to do everything. We want to control everything, and then we lose control of everything.
Yeah, but it happened. But first of all, when I was assistant, all my focus was on being at the service of the head coach. That is what I try to do at my best for everybody. Like in the army, I am under, and so I have to work for him, and he will lead us to the best. So that was the idea. And then being a head coach, so my style, my way is to listen from everybody. So it is really important to have the possibility to trust in the staff, in the people that are around you. But when you feel that trust, that confidence. I don't know how to explain. Maybe my English is not that good, but so when you feel that feeling, I guess so. I used to listen a lot. I want a lot of versions of, lot of ideas, lot of different versions of what we have to do, and then after thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, I can decide. So it's like a staff that decide. I am just the one that have to take the right or the last decision, you know. But so I try to, so not to lose the control using people around me, everybody. But I, first of all, I must trust in them. Sometimes much more like human being than professionals, you know.
How do you decide what to share with the players? Because Dr. Cesar Hernandez describes you as someone that likes to see everything, likes to watch everything, likes to listen. For the ones that are watching us, Cesar Hernandez is the assistant coach for Mr. Stefano Lavarini, along with Andrea Vizioli. What are some of the things that you feel that you can share with the players, and what are some things that you just keep to yourself? Like what are those type of informations?
I mean, I guess that you should share everything with the players, but what is important is to find what they can use, what they can control. So generally, I used to give them. So we like to study a lot. We like to have, you know, you work with Cesar. You watch the Cesar way to work, so you understand that is impressive the amount of data that he can give me. And Biasio, I say Biasio, Andrea Biasioli, the same, because they are two great statisticians other than coaches. But with the girls, generally, so we try to summarize a lot what we want to share. And so I try to explain telling you the way we prepare videos for the girls. That is much easier for me to give you the information that you need. But so we start generally with some information of the attackers of the opponent team. And so in terms of directions, abilities, so what they do when they attack on the different kind of balls, so the quick ball, the high ball, and the quick tempo or the slide for the middle blocker, so the different kind of ball that they attack. And so this is the first information that we give. So what are the what the attackers are used to do the most. And then we give information about the setter, so a general information about the setter way to play. Just so we study a lot of different situations, but we try to give them information about 2-3 things really important. Generally, 2 informations on every rotation of the setter. And this is just enough. After that, we just give so to the setters we do just a meeting, watching how the opponent block works, mostly the opponent block, and so starting from the middle blockers, and out of this we show just some services from every server, just to have like informations about the characteristics of what they have to face in reception. So it looks like a lot of informations, but we try to summarize a lot, and to have in our mind a lot of more information that mostly can help in particular moments of the match.
I know that it has to be a challenge to coach first Italian players, then going to Brazil, coaching a very different culture, and then go to Korea, completely different culture. So how do you deal with sharing information with each of those cultures? Like, what are some of the things that you have to take in consideration?
So first of all, for Korea, I still must learn to do that. For Brazil was quite easy because I learned to speak Portuguese really soon, really quickly,
Okay.
and mostly because they help a lot the foreigners to learn.
Mhm.
Probably because they don't want to speak English too much, and so it was much easier. Than our cultures are quite similar, so
Mhm.
it was not that different in lot of situations, and was quite easy to understand each other and to adapt to my style, to my ideas for the Brazilians, because our culture, Italian culture, is raised on other schools like the Brazilian one. So a lot of things that we used to do, we learned from the Brazilian at the beginning. So
Mhm.
maybe then we are modifying with our idea, with our culture, with our style, with what we are learning new from other countries, from other schools. But it was quite similar, quite easy. And in Korea, it was really, really hard, really, really hard. And mostly because they are really close, culturally really close. Their volleyball is really close and their own style, so it's hard to understand what you have to change,
Mhm.
or what is much better to live like this. But what was, I mean, what leads me generally is the idea of, if they called you to be coach in Brazil, or if they called you to be coach in Korea, is because they want to do something different, or because they like, or
Absolutely.
they like your way.
I was
Because
I was wondering about that. Like, how does the Italian coach that was coaching in Minas ends up at South Korea? Like, how did that happen? Of course, we all know about all of your achievements, but how did they make that connection of this is the guy that we want?
yeah, and then I mean, I had like my, I don't know how to say, my secret weapon. Every time that I had a big problem, I used to say, okay, oh, if you want a Brazilian coach, I am the worst, So you called me from 9,000 kilometers away, so this is my way. We must adapt to this. But I guess I was like that smart to understand
Mhm.
that probably it is you the one that has to adapt the most, and
Mm.
so trying day by day to
Mm.
show that something can be done in a different way, and maybe can give a better result, or an interesting result, or sometimes just motivate to do something that you are used to doing the same way from several years in a different way. So
Stefano, when you got there, what do you think that it was going to be easy to change? And then, you have to do what you're saying. You have to completely adapt to saying, you know what, it's going to have to stay this way.
I mean, starting from saying that in Brazil a lot of things doesn't have to be changed because
Yeah.
because
It's,
that's good
it's
enough.
Minas, it's Brazil. Yeah, it's great
Yes,
volleyball. Yeah.
and then players from the Brazilian national team, and a lot of stuff like this. But
Hmm.
I guess that, so the big mountain, the top mountain, was like, I don't know how to say in English, but punctuality,
See,
probably.
see.
Or something about so their habits on physical practice and something like this, because they are used to work a lot more than
Hmm.
Italy,
Lot
but
of hours. And then
yes,
you wanted more
sure.
efficiency.
Yes, this is what was the my best goal at the beginning. Then I did like this. I did a circle, and I tried to do this only into the court, because if I started to take care about the time of the practice in the gym for the physical practice, and if it was 9, they arrive at 9 or 9:01. For me, it's crazy,
Me
Or
too. Me too. I can that for me, people arriving at the time of practice, they're late. If you're on time, you're late.
Sure. But I must be sincere. So it never happened in the court, in the volleyball court. But
Right, right.
sometimes in some situation in the morning, and I became crazy. And then also in something about like load in the exercises or something like
Ah.
this, Executing mode, something that is little different. I don't want to say that is wrong, but it's different from my way. And so I started at the beginning I wanted everything under control. And I started to do a circle and I say, I take care only about what happened into the court because I broke relationship before the beginning. And I didn't start to talk about volleyball. So they will pick me on a flight and then I must go back home very soon. So it's much better.
Was the talent good? And even when they got there a little late, and had a little trouble with punctuality, what were they like respectful about the work that you were doing since day one, or like what do you have to establish some sort of like a culture inside of your gym?
No, I'm joking because it didn't happen so much,
Right,
it didn't happen so much. But so we just had this situation that it was funny also because we had a meeting also with the manager of the club that explained to the girl when I became crazy, but after 2 times, not that much, because, after 2 times that at 9 or 9.1, not 9.10, it's not a problem like this, But so they were like, I said, it happened. What happened? And they said, what happened? Nothing. Hey, have a good day. Very, very nice. So I had this meeting with the manager that explained to the girls that it was really important that they would respect every single time of practice and so on, because he didn't want to see me that way again. But I said, but it's not because of me. You don't have to say this because of me. You are the club. You are to say that because of the club, But
and you know what, Stefano? Like coaching Asian players here in the United States. One of the things that I found is that the loyalty and their willingness and hunger to make sure that they're respectful to you, to make sure that they do everything you tell them to do, it's above and beyond. Do you find that in your Korean national team?
Sure. So when the first time that I arrived there, I tried to teach them how to be late at the practice, how to, how to steal on the points, on the No, it's crazy. This kind of difference between Italian and Brazilian culture to the Asian country is crazy. They are fixed in their, I don't know how to say hierarchies.
Yeah. Hierarchy.
And also this idea of respect, incredible. They bow every single day, every time they meet me. I can't take my bag from the bus because if they see the head coach taking his bag from the bus, for every one of them, starting from the younger players, it's something that they are not they are not behaving the right way,
True.
So, and that transferred into the court in all we do in volleyball. So sometimes I don't like too much this, because most of the time when I had results in my life, it was with players that didn't need to listen to me so much, that
challenge you. Challenge you.
Yes, that challenged me. Or, respected me, but respected more themselves, Something like that.
A little more like selfish type of people, not in a bad way. It's just like a different type of culture, in other countries. But and then the other thing is that the way that that they work in Asia is really block scenario, like meaning like everything is by task. So like, do you find that there as well? Like where, Stefano, you told them to stand here in the court and they would not move from there, and that's the direction that they're going to follow? And like, do you work with decision making and a little more freedom into what they were doing on the court? Like, tell me a little bit about that. I
cannot tell you so much. What you said, it's already the the right definition. I mean, if you say to the setter, you have three free ball situation, you can do whatever you want, but one ball has to be for the middle blocker. You can make sure that for 50 sets of balls, the first ball is for the middle blocker, and then for the position 4.
That's true. That's true.
Always like this. Then you say, look, you can do in a different way. I want to see also your creativity to play versus the opponent block or something like that. And so, okay, the next time, the first ball is for position 4, the second for the middle blocker, the third for position 4, and starting from that moment every time like this, you know?
No, I agree. And but also, it's I have to say that the best results I got them with people like that as well, just because of how committed they are to whatever you want. You know, they're gonna live and die for your culture, for your philosophy, for what you're trying to achieve as a program. So I think that, you know, and I know that you're an expert doing this, but learning how to work with that type of culture in a positive way could be very powerful, because you're not doubting if everyone is in or not. Everyone is 100% for you.
Sure. And what you said, the word is task. So we noticed that it's just about giving them tasks. It's not about, then you can find a way to promote their creativity, but it's not something that you must put like the way they have to lead the game, because you will not lead the game the right way. Give tasks to them and find some ways to make them express themselves more, you know. So it's really like this. So the right way to give them tasks. Then they have like they are great. They are great. So I don't know how to explain this, but it's like they are really united. They are really close each other. So you said right. So they will die for you like coach, but mostly for their uniform, for their country, for their team.
Yeah,
you know?
Look at them. Look at you. They give, you know, like what we're talking about task. I think that, and it's just a different culture. It doesn't make it wrong. It's just, it's amazing for me, Stefano, because the challenge that you have ahead, it's really, you know, it's really unique for all the coaches watching out there, coaching a different culture. You can be one of the best coaches in the world, and it's like you're saying, you're almost starting to learn how to coach again because you're giving tasks, and you can see it here. Look at them watching you, you know, after every play here defensively, you know, like, and just like small details like that. Of course, block assignments, like not a big deal, but it's just small details that they're committed to what you want.
Yes, and then blocking and defense, blocking, especially tactical, like the tactical way of blocking or of facing the opponent's attack. It was the hardest thing, because Koreans have a great so give a lot of importance to the defense. They are great digger. But it looks like block is something that they don't care too much. They don't care too much. They are used just to follow the ball or to follow one attacker or to follow the setter, you know. But, it is strange also. It is strange. In one side, it's understandable because physically they've never been that tall. So probably they point their attention much more in the second line skills, you know.
Why is that, Stefano? Why are they so good on defense? Like, can you explain what do you see in your gym that makes sense that, man, this is why they're so good with that part of the game?
Yeah, first of all, it's something psychological, like an attitude. They have a different attitude. And second, I guess that repetitions helps them to have a great technique. But even if I say that, but for example, in some situation, I don't think that the feedback, that the transfer that you have from the repetition is enough to be good into the play, so this is really different. But for them it helped a lot, in my opinion. Then probably they are used to attacks not that powerful, and so working with thousands of attacks that you can manage, that you can handle, helps you to have a better attitude and helps you to repeat techniques in the right way, in the efficient way. That sometimes cannot happen in the in the US or in some European country. For example, to warm up the team before the 6 versus 6, we used to play a lot of 3 versus 3, something like this, and giving obligation to one kind of shot, the other kind of shot, and like little slow down, according on our best power, top power. I tried to do the same in Busto when I came back to Italy. They cannot do that. They can't control that. So they just go at the best. The first 3-4 attacks they control, but then that shot that I asked, okay, but top speed. And so I guess that being used since you are really young, that 95% of times someone attacks, you can dig, and someone push you to dig. I guess that makes you become better in this. Then, for them, they cannot play without defense. So this is another big situation, because they are that good. Physically, probably they are shorter. And I guess that I'm not inventing anything saying that shorters can be better in the backlines, So, all this kind of situation make them really good in defense. It was strange to me that they were not that good in reception. There is a little difference between these two fundamentals. I guess. Do
you feel it's because the amount of movement during contact with that kind of speed going to them that creates this difficulty right now, Stefano?
No, because if you notice, they have the Korean national team has one of the best statistics in service around the world. So we don't have qualities except by service and defense. Service, I guess that service mostly because of the different types of serve, because they have strange approach, strange toss, strange hits. So it's not, it's not because of the power, but it's because of the different type of service and also ability they have to give direction, to do whatever they want. So, but I'm not sure why, but probably I try to think about, so this way, probably they kept, so they didn't adapt so much the reception technique to the changes that volleyball had, because so we started with the ball that when the ball touched the net was a fault, so
before let's serve, yes,
are a little different. Now the ball is really quick. In international level, there are servers that serve from a really high height, so and the ball is really fast and really close to the net. So the possibility you have to move and to be behind the ball and to go around the ball every time is difficult. But
that's what I mean. I mean that the philosophy of more towards Asia of trying to get the ball in front of their body all the time, since the 80s and 90s. Have changed because of the speed increasing, and so
I guess that this is the best motivation, So it looks like for some culture, but also Brazilians works a lot like this. They work
interesting.
Like this.
Okay,
they like a lot this idea, but I also like very much this idea when I teach. So because it makes, especially with the young players, because it makes your feet not lazy,
Right.
But you must recognize that at the high level, you cannot handle the situation without the side pass,
Right.
So and I guess that this is the main reason, but it's just my idea, because if I say that in repetition helped defense, I make you sure that they will not do less repetition in reception, so that they will do the same amount of repetitions.
Stefano, but look at this pass here. If we're talking about the 90s or before you got to Korea, this ball will have been tried to be passed in the middle of their bodies. But I think this is your signature here. This is your signature.
No, it's not like this. This is
outside of the body.
Skill. This is Jaehyun's skill. It's not that they don't teach the side pass, but it's the seat that you have every time to be around the ball, to be behind the ball, makes you. It makes like this is like a mistake, but they teach also this. They are really good. So Jaehyun in that situation was perfect. It was really nice that pass.
I love how they are passing.
Can you show me again the way that she opened with her feet, the way that she go with her arms outside, quick, without joining too early, and the way that I like it was really nice. Like example.
Watch here.
Yeah, Young also is really good in this kind of situation.
And it's
little
difficult.
less when the ball fall down in front of her, but I mean, she's also 1.92 m. So,
and you see, like passing there, she was trying to force passing in the middle of her body, and the result was not the same.
Another thing, one situation that you can see there is not only the idea of passing the ball in the middle of your body, but also waiting very much for the ball instead of the idea of attacking the ball. That is something that we try to
tell me more about that. Tell me more about that, Stefano.
Yeah, in some situation it looks like they want to wait the ball bouncing when it's really close to the ground, to the floor. And so, in my opinion, you have to, in my opinion, but it's not something that I invented, But in my opinion, it's much better to try to anticipate the ball, to attack the ball. I generally used to say that as much as you hit the ball far from the floor or still higher, as much the ball will do what you want her to do instead of what it wants to do, something like this.
You're so right about that, Stefano.
It's much easier to direct the ball, in my opinion, if you try to anticipate it.
Very good advice for everyone watching us. I want to ask you about this because another change just a small change, but I feel it's a big one for one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. Her taking a good right step to the ball. Like this last step is beautiful right here.
Fantastic. The way she reached the right point instead of doing a small step, that wow, really nice. Really nice. And I mean, what they do with their feet is fantastic, because they teach to these girls since the beginning lot of different footsteps, lot of different direction, because they like to play a lot with that kind of crossing approaches, and then the ball most of the times goes to position 4, but but they learn a lot about what to do with their approach, and this is good to make some fake to the position you want to attack, to hide what you want to attack. They are really good in this, but I guess that also this ability gives you lot of skills, lot of improvements on the way you adapt to the ball, to a single set, when the ball is faster or quicker or higher or slower or shorter or much closer to the net or farther from the net. So in this sense, what I want to learn from them technically is something about what they do with their feet what they do, the way they teach approaches, and the philosophy that is around this, because they have, everybody has a great ability in doing a lot of different kind of ball, kind of approach. So it looks like every position 4 should play in every position of the net. Also, the opposite in the starting 6 of the Korean national team, after 3 weeks of the league in the last season, became she came back to the middle.
Wow.
Yeah, because both middle blockers were injured, and so they look the importance of the opposite in Korea. So the opposite is that important that if you have one problem, you put it in the middle. So it's a really different culture, a really different way.
Stefano, do you
look that swing? This is my opposite. That is the middle. That has been a middle blocker for most of her career. And look the swing. If it's not an old elbow, super
high elbow, yes, that's true.
Like an old middle blocker technique.
Mm-hmm. I do love her shuffle and steps. Of course, good shuffle, good steps. Mm-hmm. Then looking for that outside arm. And then one other thing that I noticed is the outside hitters are changing their approaches inside or outside of the court. Stefano, yes. What do you like about it? Like, when do you like for hitters to go outside of the court, and when do you like them staying in?
From
position 4. Like, I see them approaching inside at times and then approaching outside of the court at different times.
I tried to change a lot in this sense, but mostly because of my ignorance about their way to play. So I would have more time to study more and to understand what I could use more about their culture, because we are joking a little bit on their use, but there are some situations that they are really, really, really good in managing. So in general, I like to play all the net. So I like not to make the net shorter, because when you play international level versus the best middle blocker of the world, you help them if you used to play a shorter net, But in lot of situation, you can find some position 2 that doesn't help so much, that doesn't start so close, so much inside. And so in that situation, it can give less references to the block, changing a little bit this kind of approaches, But I'm not that confident. I'm still not that confident on this kind of way to play because of the middle blockers. I guess that these kind of approaches, these kind of attacks, they works a lot when your middle blocker, when the opponent must trust to your middle blocker. But we use the middle blockers really, really few, and our tempos with the middle blocker are not that anticipated, and so I don't trust so much in this. But when I give them the possibility of playing their own way, without following my ideas, I notice that sometimes, even if some attackers is not that efficient, and so the opponent team can take out attention from that player, it can works the same, because they are really good in
what they're used to it.
Hiding the approach. They hide the approach very well, and it's strange, but it's similar to what I said for the service. For who is not used to face this kind of attacks, it becomes the powerful of that attack increase a lot, because you are not used, you don't know very well where to stay, where to go, where to move, where the ball can come. And so in this sense, their technique, their skills are efficient. Like I told you, I would like to have more and more time to study and to work with them, because I guess that So we tried to play more an international way of volleyball with the Korea in the last season. But for sure, there are some situations like this that can be used with good results and can be really good for me to learn and to make this team more efficient. What I have to work more, I guess, with them is blocking. Blocking is something that they really need. But in other situations, blocking, and so, I mean, in attacking, probably middle blockers and opposite is something that have to grow a little bit in their culture. Because if you notice, in their league, only one foreigner is allowed for each team, and generally is the opposite. So it's hard like this to create new opposites to play in your national team in international level. If there are no Korean opposites in the league, or the ones that play like opposite are for receiving or can play like middle blockers, So it need to play international level. It needs also some physical characteristics, So it's not that, and you have to create this. You have
Stefano, I have a question about that, because you mentioned something really important, and as an Italian person, people say that the Italian league was in its best when there were less foreigners playing and more Italians staying. And in the national team, when that happened, how do you feel in general, not about your league, how do you feel in general about players from different countries going to play professional to a league? Does that affect, like you say, like the national teams?
So I didn't understand the last sentence, but maybe I try to answer, because I guess I understood the most, So in general, I guess that it depends a little bit on places. I don't know why, but for example, Brazilians, they are not used to have a lot of foreigners in their league, but their league is competitive and their national team is super strong, and they have a lot of good players. So, but in Korea, for example, I can tell you that in some positions, I guess that they are weaker, but probably they are weaker because physically their people is like this, So they always emphasized the characteristic of the short players, and so their game, it became a little more like a short people game,
right?
But in general, so I guess that your national team, your movement improve the most when you have more talented players, and you cannot decide which year can happen or which decade can happen. But in general, I agree more with the idea of open borders. Best level possible makes best player possible. That doesn't depend on the country they are from, or if there are more foreigners in your country, because your best players will learn more, will improve more by playing versus the best player of the world. This is my idea. Then the amount of average player or high level but not top level player that Brazil has, Korea has, according on their level, is, I guess, it is more than the Italian number,
Okay.
But they are also, Brazilian, for example, are also 200 million more. So it's not easy to understand, But I guess that it's impossible for each country saying what is the best rule they should use to promote their young players, their national team in their league. Because I saw in Brazil, even if I guess that they have to open more, and then in the next season, I guess they have 2 foreigners. They stopped with the ranking that I don't know if you know what is the ranking in Brazil, but so I guess that they are trying to improve in this sense, but I don't want to say that they have to be crazy for that, because they had a great national team, a lot of great players, even with these rules.
What are you going to do with the development of the younger ages in Korea? Do you have power over that?
It's really hard. It's really hard because I guess that so I didn't understand very well already the way they are organized. For example, the young players they play and they work on the school. That they don't have clubs outside of the school. So it's not easy to understand their organization. What I noticed is that the activities of the youth teams are not that big, are not that developed. So what I want to do with them, and what I try to do is just to, I don't know if it's possible to say sensibilize. No. Sensibilize them to these needs, to the need of starting to work really much earlier on the player. But I mean, it's not that they don't start early, but with the right direction according on the international level. This is something that I guess that makes much more the difference, to see how much they want to go out of their culture, of their border, or they just wanted some new ideas, some new way to do one exercise, another exercise, one more way to do a statistic, a study on the game, or they really want to do a step over, I don't know this. It's what we will see. I guess that it's understandable that at the beginning, I just work with them for 5 months. It's not that easy to change. And also it's not that easy to convince them that something should be better.
Right.
Because for them, once they have their league, super popular, super important, great business, why? Why going out from the borders?
From what has been working.
Why going to Italy and staying in the bench for $80,000 a year when in Korea you are a star, that you sign 300,000 of autographs every day and you earn $350,000 and you play every time? So why? And you eat Korean, So this.
Stefano, now thinking about Latin America, we tend to be shorter. Do you think that the formula that you're trying to use, between the combination of what you want and what they are, could also work in Latin America? Like, what do you think that we can continue to do? Like, for example, a country like mine, Puerto Rico, we are smaller. What are things that we can actually learn from what you have seen? Because they have been really successful. Like, it's not that they are, all Asia, it's, super successful, but they have been really successful even with that size. Of course, they have a lot more people to choose from.
Look, for example, Thailand. Thailand is, in my opinion, the most Asian country.
Right.
In this sense, because China, Japan, they are adapting a little bit. They changed a lot.
Especially when Lamping went back. Yes.
Sure. But I mean, I can't invent anything. This game is quite simple. So if the shorters for 1,000 years, they needed always to be really good in digging, in passing. So that will always be one point. But then I'm not sure that everybody give the same importance to service. And Korea teach that it doesn't depend on physical characteristics. So service is something that can be improved, promoted a lot.
Yes.
And then I guess that, so I said about Thailand, but that way to play that was successful, that can be successful, in my opinion, just in my opinion, to be successful, it depends a lot about passing quality, but especially about setter. That setter, Tom Com. There are not so many setter like this in the world.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
So it's not easy to replay this kind of volleyball if you are not the same setter. It's not enough to be the same culture, So,
Right,
but I mean, what made me? I mean, what surprised me a little bit in Brazil, but mostly in Korea, and this is what I guess can be interesting for Puerto Rico. It's about speed. Since I started to learn volleyball, every time we were talking about Asian, we were talking about quick volleyball.
Yeah.
Quick volleyball. What I noticed is that United States, Italy, other European country, they play quicker. They are playing faster. So probably in this sense, it's possible to take a little advantage. So trying to run a quicker attack. Because, and that is also interesting because why Brazilians, they play quick, Brazilians play quick. But I guess that the United States, that Italy, they are playing quicker, And so I guess it depends on, as you are not that powerful, you still want to have a great control on what you do with the ball, most than how fast you run the attack.
Because it's a fast ball, but it's a high ball. I love the tempo that you're running right now. It's good.
Good. I agree with you. So, like Brazilian says, they play quick, but the ball has always a little arc, a little trajectory that looks like with their skills, with their abilities, with their techniques, help them to use direction, to do whatever they want. And tactically, in individual tactics, in attacking, Brazilians are amazing. They do whatever they want. Okay. But I don't know if, for example, if I would be Puerto Rican, I would invest more in the idea of taking out a little time to the middle blocker to move, to the block to take a position, to the defense to move. So I will invest on this. Also because doing what you want now with that centimeters that pass through the net is not that easy. So that skill of doing what you want is something that I will save, for example, for the eyeball situation. In this, using the block should still be forever something really important.
Stefano, correct me if I'm wrong, but I also see that Asia within their identity, especially your team, now I see great game out of system. So I see, for example, you're talking about the setter. I am impressed of her speed, but I'm more impressed that she tries to take the ball with her hands everywhere. She's running and trying to make difficult balls look perfect. And the hitters being great in those situations. Do you see the same things? As I feel the game is moving that way with taller players. So if we're shorter, being great at a system become even more important, right?
I totally agree with you. And one thing that is interesting, I don't know if Cesar told you about this, but I guess no, also probably was not one of the things that you were talking about. But also, I don't say this very much because I followed a lot of lot of situation like today, a lot of webinar we call in Italy. I don't know if it's an international way to call this kind of stuff.
Yes, the same thing.
And everybody saying about the difference between when you are in system or out of system, or when the pass is perfect or the pass is positive, or our team in lot of matches have a better side out with the bad pass than with the good pass. So that was incredible.
Stefano, that's so good, man. That's so good. That's so good. And the importance of that, and even like this, like in situations like this, importance of teaching defensive players, liberos, to especially in women's volleyball, to know how to manage those situations. So hitters can get a hittable ball inside of the court, have many shots. It's really important. How much time do you spend on this, Stefano, in your trainings?
I mean, I guess normal. So normal. In some warm-ups, when we start some practices, we used to do a lot of dig and set with everybody. But I mean, in lot of drills, also in the 6 versus 6, we used to start one ball of the set of balls that we play from the setter defense, from a different situation of set. But I mean that what it makes the difference, in my opinion, is just being clear to who has the responsibility and being clear on what you want from that situation. For example, one thing that I'm following a lot, that I'm trying to study, is the idea that Davide with the Italian national team is trying to do a lot of playing really fast in all the situation that is not the setter setting, the liberos or also the middle blocker, and they are doing great things. In some situation, they also do some shows like the middle blocker that attacks the 31 with the libero setting. But okay, really interesting. I'm trying to look with a great attention to this, but in my opinion, the games still remain simple. So in some situation, the possibility of playing faster, also if it's not the setter setting, it's really good. It's important. You have to practice. It's important to give this idea to the libero that is the second setter of the team. Whatever. But in my opinion, is still. I mean, it happens more times that there's no way. Is eyeball, and there's to be eyeball well set from whoever and attack the right way. The way you have to attack the eyeball. For example, if when we chat a little bit for this webinar, you told me about I will ask you something about your philosophy. What is the way you are used to work? Okay, and I was trying to summarize my way to work at the best is every day serve and reception, every day side out attacking system, every day eyeball attacking. Stop. Every day, because it's what is important, in my opinion, what it makes more the difference. So, coming back to what you were asking, I guess that it's much more important to have clear what you want to do with that second touch. Who has to take this and what they have to do. And I prefer people that are not scared of slow down the play in that situations,
No, I want to show you one last play here of what I mean of how good of a job your team is doing creating situations that are obviously out of system, making it look perfect.
Look that waiting that ball. Look waiting that ball in reception.
Look at it and look at this set.
Very good.
Like that's a ball that normally is taken with the platform.
Sure.
And then she's trying to make it look like a good pass. And
because, for example, there are things that we have to learn, we have to improve. What sometimes make the difference, in my opinion, and that when we marry a philosophy, an idea, and we stop to think that other situations are good or possible or useful. For example, the pivot, how to call the pivot.
Yes.
That is something that they don't know. I guess that if you are a Korean setter and you used to do the pivot to set one ball, probably you go to the jail. Probably,
You know what? I will have thought completely the opposite because in China they use it a lot. The pivot. So I'm surprised by it.
I know, but I mean, so everything, in my opinion, you must find the right mix. for everything. And then I will promote the use of the pivot with the Korean setters, because in general, pivot goes on the same direction of playing quick.
Yes.
No? For sure.
Yes.
But starting from the beginning, saying that is just playing quick what we need, in my opinion, makes setters lazy. And so I guess that you have to put some steps on your teaching and trying to develop both the situations and try to make so you must give more skills to the players. And then what makes the difference in volleyball is recognizing situation and using the skills that you have in the right way. So, but I mean, generally, so I'm not good in teaching the pivot, for example, because I never did. I follow, I listen, I know what to do. But when I work with the setters, what I want the most is that they run, that they arrive, that they try to face. Do
you like them
the neutral position every time? So I prefer to work more, also because when I work with the setters, there are more situations where they already know where the ball goes. So it's a big advantage to know where the ball goes, to see the coach setting the ball, or also if somebody is passing, to have the control of the exercise. So it's hard to me to say. So there are a lot of situations that I say, okay, pivot, fantastic. But if you don't need it, why? So
do you like them getting to the ball early, of waiting and staying behind the ball and then approaching right before contact? What do you like? Do you like them early on the ball or late on the ball and waiting a little bit?
In general, I like more early, because in my opinion, your speed can start from your hands. And so if you are early, you have the possibility of doing whatever you want. If you wait, okay, probably you have the possibility to play really quick, but I guess that you lose something in terms of the possibility of changing a little bit the time of something like this. But I mean,
what do you base your lanes of offense on? Are they always the same in every team you go? Like, for example, you always like middles going close to the setter or away to the setter? Like, what do you base your lanes on? Your patterns?
No. My idea in general is to see. So I like to be like a cook, to see what is in the refrigerator and to decide the recipe. Today's recipe is, okay, open the refrigerator and see what is in the refrigerator and cook, But I mean, I really like the 31 in general. So for the middle blockers is a ball that I guess it's really important, because so gives you a lot of possibilities of playing over the 31, to use also the back row. And I like very much the open balls, like 31 and light. But so
you use the back one a lot as well. Why do you like the back one a lot?
I like it very much, but the problem is two big problems. Who attack the ball has to be really good in that ball, and it's not easy to find. I was lucky because Koreans are good in that ball. And in Brazil, Carol Gattazzi is super strong in that ball. And in Busto Arsizio, Hayley Washington is really good in this ball. So, for example, this is kind of ball that I like. But then it's submitted to the positivity of passing. Because, and calling that ball, in some situation, you lose one attacker. It's not that useful sometimes, But I mean, so I don't have one ball. I like the open balls, but I don't have one ball that I use to make them attack. The only rule that I put generally is about the counter attack. So when they come out from a blocking situation, when they come down from a blocking situation, I generally like the most that they play in the same area they were blocking. So if the blocker come down from blocking the opposite, I prefer she plays 31 or one close to the setter. If they come down after blocking the position 4, I prefer they play slide, or they play that one behind, or one.
Why is that? Why, Stefano?
Yeah, because in my opinion, it's much easier to be in more situation ready, not to make I don't know how to say, confusion with the setter that is coming in. So it's much easier to one step off, take your approach close to the court and go in. So, but transition with middle blockers is something that happens really, really few times. So it's a rule that, in my opinion, gives more possibility to be ready. Sometimes I guess that the middle blocker become tired to approach because they never get the ball, especially in the transition. But if you join the idea of reaching the center of the court to be ready to go wherever, I guess that you don't help them. So it's much easier to stay close to where you are.
Stefano, and with teams like not having a really strong back row right side in the back, what are some alternatives? Because you say that you are related with that a little bit now in Korea. What are some alternatives that, if you still want to run that back row attack, do you get them closer right behind the setter, or you still keep them away and far away? Like, what do you like with situations like that?
It's hard because, in some situation, at the end, I guess that it depends mostly on the the single attacker characteristics. Because, for example, at the beginning, when I started to coach professional, I had the idea of playing lot of points of the net, saving, so letting free the central point of the net. Not attacking the central point. I like to use the back row from position 6 between 6 and 5. In some situation between 6 and 1. So using that space on the net to attack. But in some situation, I noticed that if the attacker is not that powerful or skilled in giving direction, that kind of attack is not that efficient.
Okay.
But in Busto, when I came in Busto, Britt Herboth, Alessia Gennaro, they were used to play that ball, and it was. In some situation, I wanted to play that Gabi, for example, is another player that I tried to play that ball and was not that good. It was much better in the pipe in the middle of the net. And so sometimes playing over the quick tempo of the middle blocker, just this kind of timing, working on the timing more than on the distance, it was more efficient. So I don't know. It depends on the players. So I like
how you put it. I like how you put it. You said that timing sometimes is more important than distance. And
because in my opinion is the difference. The difference is playing on the time, and so quick. For example, Japanese, I guess, they used to play when the setter moves to play the back row from position 6 always close
right
to
behind.
Okay. There are players that plays in the middle of the court, always in the middle of the court. Just probably they can just adapt a little bit if the setter is going too much forward, So, this is what makes me worry in doing this kind of webinar, because for a lot of things, I don't have the answer. I just saw that there are different ways, and it's not that it doesn't depend on the, on how one player is great, because I saw some of this situation work with some great players and not with others, for example.
How do you work with knowing that you have one of the best players in the world in your team? How do you keep her not motivated, because she should be motivated, but how do you keep her challenging? How do you keep her knowing, okay, I'm the best player in the gym, but I'm still have goals that Coach Stefano has established for me? Like, how do you do that?
There are two things to say. First of all, I don't know if culturally Kim Jong-un feels she is like, so she must give her 100% when she works with the national team, but she does. And it depends probably on her culture. And it's impressive, in my opinion, because sometimes I don't want to misrespect to the players, but she's used to play. So probably sometimes she played the final of the Champions League, and the day after she start to work for 3 months, okay, at a lower level every day with blocks like this. And so she have fun because she's in her own country with her own mates from several years. So I don't know. There are a lot of good things, but it's impressive the way she's pushing every single day she's in the gym. So I guess that is something about her that probably makes her one or the best, or made her as being the best player of the world. I don't know. And then the way that I try to help in this, but I never thought about motivating Koreans. I guess that what helps is just my way to work, that probably is much closer to what she's used to do from the last 10, 15 years, I don't know, since when she moved from Korea, because they are used to work with a lot of hours of working, lot of repetition, lot of boring situation that probably, in my way of managing the situation, more international, European, I don't know, it's enough to make her a little more motivated if she needs. For example, playing one part of so working also techniques much more in the game instead of in the analytic way, and also having a lot of, so every day play with points, with score, with different exercises in this sense. So I guess that can help a little bit.
I love it, Stefano, that you have this philosophy. By the way, selfishly, I say that really similar to what I believe. You have this philosophy of using more real game stuff, like random stuff. And you're trying to establish it in a country that, that is used to probably the opposite of that. So you have one of the biggest challenges out there as a coach and still achieving great things. Tell me about the next goal. What is it? What is going to happen?
In fact, I guess that what worked more, it's about what you said at the beginning. So because they have to respect the coach much more than how they feel this working or right or correct.
So maybe they're like, Coach Stefano is crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Probably. Then, now, after seeing the results that they wanted, now it's okay. But at the beginning, they never said that anything was wrong, but you felt in some situation the fear inside them, the players, managers. It felt like they were seeing something. What a shit kid contracted this guy, But I mean, so. Okay.
Tokyo 2021, Stefano.
I don't say anything about this because I was unlucky once in my life when I was assistant in the junior team. It was like the season that we should play with the national team, the World Championship, the World Junior Championship in Mexico.
Okay.
And our team was quite good, but we didn't go because of the swine flu. I don't know how to call this. It was like in the 2007, 6, 7. I don't remember very well. And no, later than this.
So you have gone through this 2 times now.
So I don't remember very well the year, but I just remember that our minister didn't allow us to go out to play a competition like this because of this disease, and so I was unlucky. I wanted to play a worldwide competition and I couldn't for this reason. So now, after years and years and years and experience, I had the possibility to reach the And for the
And
first
this happened.
time, they will not do the Olympics. So they
Oh my
say
God.
next season, okay, you can say whatever you want. I will just believe the day I will be on that flight to Tokyo. Until the
That
day I will not talk about it.
have you? What are you doing with them right now, Stefan? Are you able to at least train them online? Like, what's your plan?
I tried. So they are used to work a lot with the national. I mean, the national team is less important than clubs in Korea. Okay, so also the federation has little less power than the league. And by the way, in this sense, what happened? That in their idea, general idea, cultural idea, working for the national team, if you don't have important competition, is not that important. It's not that important. I'm not talking about the federation. Federation promotes the idea of working more. And so what I wanted to do, even if we don't have the competition, it was like doing something like 1 month working together, 1 month working with the team, because we let them, when we will prepare for the Olympics, we will be like almost 2 years without working together.
Wow.
If we don't do anything this summer. So I try to ask them, and they try to do their best. But first of all, to organize 1 month of activity in Korea, it means asking to the clubs to give you the players while they are preparing for their league.
And that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
It happens, but it's not that easy,
Okay.
And also, the other situation is quarantine.
Uh-huh.
To work 1 month in Korea, in the time that we were organizing this, I should do quarantine 15 days in Korea and 15 days back in Italy. It was not that easy, to accept to do 30 days quarantine, to work 4 weeks, and you don't know also if with all the players,
Wow.
And so at the end, we decided not to do this, and we are in contact to share with them what we did in the last season, and to talk with the federation to how to improve the organization of our next activities and so on. The only thing that I want to do, I'm not sure that I will, is to go there at least 1 week, and to follow the girls, to meet the girls, to go to the clubs, to see the way they work, probably to also to speak with the coaches, with the managers of the clubs, just to share a little bit of my ideas, even if you don't know how much they are interested in it, because I'm not joking. So I don't want to say bad things about them, but it's not understandable how big are the barriers, because not understanding the language, each other, not understanding the philosophy, being so different in culture, it makes everything really, really easy in this sense. Finding someone that says, "Oh, interesting, I want to follow more of this. I want to know more of this." And I can say to be true, that I am an example of this, because I didn't learn a single word of Korean. And like I told you, I didn't learn what they have good that I can use to make them stronger. So I went to Brazil, and I find it really easy.
Easy transition there.
I can say easy after being there, because at the beginning it was not like this. But after, when I went out from, I went to Brazil because after 7 years, after 5 years in Bergamo, I said I want to go a little out from my comfort zone. A little out was like 9,000 kilometers. Okay, at the beginning it was really hard, but then I can say that was easy. And so after Brazil, I said, okay, I can go wherever now. I have the power of, I learned the power of working wherever. And I went to Korea, thinking that should be more or less the same, but barriers, incredible, huge barriers. And I can say, okay, that it's really hard, but also for me.
Do you want to be 4 more years there, Stefano?
Probably, yes. Probably.
Yes. Nice.
No. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Wait,
if
do
I
you
want to stay there.
do you want to be there in Korea for 4 more years?
I don't know. This is interesting, but I wanted to have my 2 years under my eyes to see also what would change between 1 year to the other, because also in Brazil was not all the same from the beginning to the second season. So I guess that you can decide, you can think about this after 2 years is okay. But then you need also to know what they think, because probably so they have their own idea, no? If managing this Italian is that strange and crazy, and because
for people that are watching,
you must feel comfort somewhere. You cannot live always thinking that the other is crazy, that is that talk about strange things, that want strange things. Sometimes you must find little comfort. I don't know if they find a little comfort with me,
Stefano, for the ones watching out there and do not know who Stefano Lavarini is, please Google him. I know that he, like Cesar told me, he's super humble. He's someone that doesn't like to talk much about himself, because he's someone really selfless, someone that is, that gives a lot to everyone else around him. But Stefano has done an amazing job with the Korean national team so far. And I have a question. Someone mentioned me as well that you tend to measure practice, the amount of time that it lasts, based on the amount of volleyballs that you use. Tell me about that concept.
Yeah, it's not, so I mean, it's just my way. I mean, there are coaches that they knows that in 20 minutes they can work on a situation enough time, I'm not good in doing this, but years of preparing practices. And when I say preparing practices, maybe sometimes you use the same exercises, the same drills, but you have 3 middle blockers or 4, 1 injured position 4, 1 weak player, 1 second setter that is short. So every day you have to find a way to balance, to find the right, the right targets, the right goals of the exercises. No? So thousands of days preparing this way made me understand that if I want to do a drill that has to be done on 6 rotations, for example, that day I want to work on all the rotation, a little bit of our side out. Okay, if the exercise is 1 side out, 1 free ball, 1 high ball, whatever the court you give the ball, 3 balls, you can, in general, if you start 20, 19, it can happen 4 times the side out situation. It's enough for you? Yes, for me it's enough. 4 times each rotation, it's enough because it happened enough time what I want to see. Okay, so according on this kind of count is the way that I prepare. So a lot of or I have 4 position 4, no point, drill without point. 4 position 4 that has to do both the sides of the drill. So like the side out or the attacking. And
Stefano, let me interrupt you for a minute, because people are asking me like, what do I mean by that? And what I mean is that Stefano Lavarini is known to measure the time of practice instead of in actual time. He measured it in amount of repetitions, in amount of balls that he uses during drills. So he already knows how much time it takes for a specific amount of balls used during practice. Please continue. Sorry, Stefano.
No, nothing. And so in some situation, that this exercise is to attack high ball from position 4. I have 4 position 4s. They have to alternate on the 2 courts, And so if how many balls I believe she needs to attack to practice. Because if I do 2 balls and then they rotate and then she doesn't come again in that position, this is a practice. She will not practice this. So understanding this, So I learned that if I have position 4, and I do an exercise of 3 ball each court, if I want them to pass from that position doing this for 2 times, 3, 6, 9, 12, 12, it means 24 balls, because I want 2 complete rotation, and it becomes 48 balls because I want them to attack versus the opposites and versus the setters, and if I want to do this, but I want to do this versus the opposite, versus the setters, and one line versus the setter, but in the same time, the other one versus the opposite. I don't know if it's clear.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
96 ball is too much, because when I do 96 ball, it finished the practice. So if I want to do 2 exercises of 6 versus 6, one without points, one with points, the first exercise has to be around 32, 48 balls. The second exercise has to be, and then according on, when I said about rotation, I know that one exercise to do all the rotation took 18 balls each rotations, more or less, to do what I guess that it's important to do, no? And then I do like this. Or sometimes if I have no time, I split the exercise, and every 2 sets of ball, they change rotation. So managing this, in my opinion, that I don't have to teach nothing to anybody, and I don't have to invent anything. It's just the way that I used to. So I said about the cook, I guess that our ability, like coach, one of our abilities, like coach,
the recipe,
just enough, just enough. How much salt will you put in that recipe? I don't know how much. Just enough. I'm used to do this every day. I would understand more or less how much,
Stefano, so you already have it calculated that, like, for example, like how much time 100 balls used in practice for a 6 versus 6 drills last? Do you already know that, right? Like how much time?
It depends on the intensity. I guess to play at a high intensity generally, and so I generally don't like exercises where somebody is not doing anything into the court. So I don't like exercises where somebody is steady, just standing, waiting. I don't like it. So this is why I practice mostly on the 6 versus 6, except when I do like a lot of repetition of some skills to have a lot of contacts. In general, I don't like, so I like to play in the 6 versus 6. Then I put a lot of rules, then I change a lot of situations, but I need to see people working, and at an high intensity. Then, in my opinion, it's important that when you go close to the match, and so at the end of the week, while you arrive much closer to the match, as much you try to reach an intensity that is closer to the match intensity. And also that measure a lot of my drills, because at the beginning of the week, there are more exercises where when I put more specific rules, when I start the rally from a particular ball, like high ball from the defense of the setter, as much as I arrive close to the end of the week, close to the match, as much the game has to become closer to the match. And so in service, for example, bonuses in service. To practice side out, I like to use bonuses very much to the servers, so they can make mistakes and repeat the service, like double fault in tennis, like 3 bonus for that set, something like this. But while I arrive close to the end of the week, no bonus. Volleyball, much closer to the official rules, And so 100 balls in my intensity, you cannot do, because after 48
they'll be dead.
Balls, people lose the focus. The players will lose the focus, because you cannot repeat the same exercise for 2 hours, And I guess that 100 balls, it will take 1 hour and 20, more or less, 1 hour and 15. I guess one drill to be efficient, when you pass 40 minutes, start to become boring,
Last question. You have 2 of the best data volley people in the world, in Andrea Biasioli and Cesar Hernandez, in the same staff. So it's obvious that you love numbers, that you're really scientific. in a world that we have almost too much information, Stefano, what advice do you give coaches out there to try to balance that with feelings? Try to balance that with who you are as a coach.
I show you. We have a group on. We have a group here. No, we have a group here between me, Cesar Hernandez, and Andrea Biasioli. And Cesar, every 3 hours, he posts one new graphic. In every 3-4 times, I do not download what he posts. This is the way,
There's always something going on.
Biasio, we know each other from when I started to coach like professional in Novara. He was assistant with Luciano Pedulla. That was one of my main teachers. He already worked with him, and so he knew the way, the style, the family style we come from. So we met each other very well from the beginning, and we are on the same idea, on the same line from the beginning. Cesar was like a new. Everybody was suggesting me, advising me to think about Cesar when I needed someone that should do the physical coach, substituting a little bit the physical coach that I wanted to take with me in Korea. That is Massimo Merazzi, that is the physical coach of the Lube Civitanova Marche, the best team of the world. And so to work with this friend, I needed to find someone else that should substitute a little bit him. And Cesar is a physical coach also, And so I listened these suggestions and I started to work with him. And so it was like another great surprise to feel that we are on the same line from the beginning. So luck is what made my career until now. I was just really lucky. I was lucky. I worked with great professionals and great persons. This is what made my career until now. Cesar, I guess that this is his best ability. So he's in love with numbers, but when he's in the court, he talk about volleyball, not about numbers, And so he like to analyze everything, but when we watch volleyball, he loves to analyze what it happened. And so this is what I guess that we share, like me, Cesar, and Biasi. And this, I guess, that makes the circus working.
What are people talking about? Your walks, your famous walks on the track in the Olympic field there that you have in Korea.
What?
Of the walks that Cesar told me, hey, ask him about the walks, the famous walks that in the track.
I guess that is one of the. No, I understood. It's one of the. One of the most important thing. It started with Massimo Merazzi because Massimo Merazzi and Cesar, because Massimo Merazzi is the one that inspired me to run at the beginning. He likes to run, so the track is something that he really like in general, and is the way and is the place where they go out of our building, him and Cesar, to call home, and it became the place they started to assist me when I had my thoughts, my doubts, my problems, and he started to take me to the track, and we started to walk in the night around the track for hours and talking about volleyball, about stupid things, about everything. And it started to become, when Biasio came with us, it started to come together, and it started to become our place, the place of the foreigners, where the foreigners are themselves. No rule. We can walk with flip-flop, barefoot, with shoes, tennis, whatever. I was smoking at that time, and sometimes even if you cannot smoke inside the center, I used to watch around and to smoke myself. So it was the place where a lot of my problems were like solved. Because but also problems in terms of living. When you are out far from home and you cannot eat again that kind of food, or so you are close one to the other, and you help very much. I told you I was lucky, because try to think the opposite situation, going to Brazil with a full staff, and going alone in Korea. So it would be impossible. So the God of volleyball that wanted me to have success in these last seasons, sent me to Brazil, making everybody ready to work with me, and making me finding the right persons to work together. And when it was time to go to Korea, he said, "No, we need to join more friends and more professionals that are in the close culture to him, because it's harder."
This has been Stefano Lavarini. Great experience today, learning a lot, understanding the insides and outs of what is it to work in a different culture. Thank you so much for that approach of letting us into your gym in Korea, and the severe changes that you are still having to do, even at the level that you are as a coach. So you have taught us a lot about that. You have taught us that no matter how good we get at something, there's something new and a new challenge for us to go after. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you opening up the way that you did today. You are going to the Olympics. It will happen. Things will be okay. But please know that, we appreciate everything that you keep doing for the game. We appreciate the way that you have, the things that you have done for Korea, for Italia, for Brazil. And I hope to meet you one day in person and watch you train live.
Oh, I also thank you very much for your words. And I also really appreciate it. I'm not sure that I should being helpful for someone, but because my experience is a really practical experience, what happened into the court. I learned from the court, like I told you. I didn't prove on myself like player. I'm not addicted to statistics and studies. And so I don't know if can you be useful for somebody, but so the time that I am worried about how I give you, how I share my experience and my job, it's finished. I started to think that what I do, I can tell you. I cannot matter about what I don't do. So it's just talking like you told me, no? In front of a cup of wine with friends. So I was really, really happy. And to be here and to share with you. And I hope to have possibilities to drink that cup of wine personally.
Yeah, we have to do it. And, and Stefano, also one more thing. Thank you for the effort of coming here without having to speak your language. Because for the people watching out there, it's not easy to come and be in an interview in a language that is not yours. So we're kind of like doing the same thing right now. I'm getting out of my comfort zone, speaking a different language, and you're doing the same. And then talking about really technical level stuff in a different language is not as easy as people think.
Sorry if I interrupt you.
No, go ahead, please.
I guess that the main problem is this. So if people, and if I pass to them what I really wanted to say, because it happened in Brazil sometimes that I do an interview in Portuguese or something like this, and then come out the news, and it's written something that they understood, but it's not what I meant. So this is the best problem. If I could say really what I think, but I hope that English should be enough,
You did, Stefano. And this is what, one of the few chances we get to listen from people of the level that you coach, free, online, in the living room of everyone. So we are really grateful.
Huh? But it's not free. You have to send me all the webinar that you already did. I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you yet, but
it's
I want
YouTube.
to pay
Stefano, it's in YouTube. You can go to YouTube. I will send you the link.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, so you already paid. It's free.
Yeah.
It's free. Totally free.
Perfecto, amigo. Gracias. Thank you for everyone that is watching out there. We will continue with the mission of educating, and hopefully you have fun with us today. Please remember to like and follow our Facebook page. It's called Volley Junkies. The YouTube channel that I recently put up. I keep updating the videos out there. Stefano Lavarini's video will be there immediately, maybe between tonight and tomorrow. So hopefully, again, you have fun, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Gracias, Stefano.
Gracias a ustedes. Un día voy a viajar por Puerto Rico.
Perfecto. Te esperamos en Puerto Rico. Hasta luego.
Chao. Hasta luego.